folks. Try and keep this as short as I can. A young goth, Georgesimpson, asked me if I would do a music related video, maybe what I like or related to music in some way. I'll put a link down there to him so you can nip along and subscribe and see what he's got to say. So yeah, I want to try and keep it short but cover a couple of bits. Music, if we're going to look at music, what it means to me, I love goth music. I'm not going to say I don't. I do love goth music, but a lot of it is 80s, a lot of it is outside the 80s. I'm not going to shoebox myself into a little area and other fantastic music say, sorry, can't bloody listen to that because it's not in the shoebox. So you won't find that with me where I'm going, yes, we'll look at all this music and it's all in the shoebox. It isn't, and it's not even all under the goth genre. Goth started in the 80s. All the goths weren't born in the 80s and suddenly went, Mummy, thank you for giving birth to me, I am a goth, now I will listen to goth music. It didn't work that way. Most were born sometime before the 80s, and they didn't go around with cotton wool in their ears up to the 80s. They listened to all sorts of things, stuff the parents played, stuff that was played out there in the world as they were pushed around, whatever. And as they got older, they loved different sorts of music and bought singles and albums and that. Then the 80s come along and punk come in, goth come in. They went that way, but they didn't suddenly go, oh, I'm goth now. Goth music, everything else that ever meant anything to me in my life is gone with the bloody wind. Of course it didn't. What you loved, you still loved. And if you find lots of older goths now and talk to them and they're not going to go tight-lipped and say, I'm going to be goth, they will tell you what they liked at that time, and they'll probably tell you whether they've still got some or whatever, or whether they've still bought some to catch up with the past again. But no, it didn't happen that way. That's your childhood, and it's the same today. Young goths, unless they had a very strict goth parents and all they ever heard was goth, if they didn't, they're going to listen to whatever the parents played. They're going to listen to all stuff out there, what the friends played. You can't get away from music, and they're going to like a lot of that. And they're not going to suddenly go, I shall not put that in my life anymore. I'll pretend it didn't exist, because it did. And if they bloody loved it, it's not going to go away. And they're going to go along one day singing bloody Dancing Queen or something to themselves, whether they like it or not. The times I have walked down the road singing something and somebody coming along has been singing the bloody same thing. It's amazing. Anyway, yeah, so I don't think nobody should shoebox yourself. There's a world of music out there. Music was put on the world for lots of things. It heals people, makes people feel happy, it makes people feel sad, it does all sorts of bloody things. But don't shoebox yourself, bloody enjoy it all. What do I like? Well, like I said, I love goth. I'm not going to deny that. I love it. I've got lots of it. Let's have a look at the sort of things that, I'll put a picture up a minute of that box over there. It's a case. In that case, it's got the Brat the bass on. there's 500 albums in there, and that covers goodness knows what. There's loads of. The only thing you won't find in there, I'm sorry anybody if you like it, you just won't find any rap in there. I just can't hack it. 500 albums in that box. In the other room there's loads of records. They are generally, if I went in there and pulled some out, a lot of those are classical opera, that sort of thing. And yes, I did a video on opera within Goth, so you could probably nip along and have a look at that and see what my view is on opera and the Goth world. I flipping love it. I flipping adore opera. It's very dark, it's very Goth. So that lot's in there. Behind me there's 2 big stacks of CDs. I looked at them and I thought, I'm not even going to freaking attempt to pull them out. But over there's all sorts from Goth to heavy rock, metal, whatever, and various other bits and bobs. One of the things I can think of is over there, War of the Worlds, the double album War of the Worlds. Flipping love it. But there's a pile down here that I got from up there, and up there there's a big stack of Enigma. I love Enigma. So all their albums up there, apart from the very latest that is down there. I'll have a look at some of those in a minute. My old iPhone 4S. Remember when we used to have the old iPhone 4S? It's a flipping treasure trove now, isn't it? It should be in a museum. Anyway, this is, I use this as an MP3 player now. Amazon Prime on here, so all the albums I get are on here. If this doesn't go on too long, I'll click on that and I'll read some of the albums I got. But there it's practically all Goth, with some probably metal thrown in here and there. I mean, I love flipping AC/DC. There's no way I'm not going to have any of those. So there's 1 or 2 bands that would probably prick people's ears up and go, what? What? I don't bloody care. So that. On there, how many albums have I got? I couldn't tell you specifically. I'd say on there's at least 60 artists, at least. 1 or 2's 1 album, some are probably 4 albums, some are anywhere 6 to 8 albums. So 60 1s, 4s, 6s, you can imagine how many bloody albums are on there. And like I said, the majority, probably 95, just over %, are Goth. Big percentage 80s, and lots of modern stuff as well. So this little baby, this little treasure trove of music. But yeah, it's all on there. For those that have been watching my videos lately, you'll know that I've been you know what we do, as we grow older we get stupid, don't we? We had the days of the vinyl and cassettes come in and we all went, throw it away, we got cassettes. And then what happened? Cassettes, CDs come in, let's get rid of the bloody cassettes. We got rid of the cassettes. We got rid of the cassette player recorder. And then what? CDs. A lot of people say, I don't own CDs, I've got MP3 files. And some people replace that. But what happens every time something new comes? And then people will be going, I can't hack all these bloody CDs around, get rid of them, I can have files. And then what happens? All of a sudden, the cassette player is now retro. And there's lots of record stores that are stocking cassettes again. There's lots of new bands coming out, putting their music on cassette because it's a hell of a lot cheaper and that for them than it is otherwise. So cassette players are now retro. So everybody that got rid of, threw, or took them to charity shops or whatever, now saying, I want a bloody old retro CD cassette player. They'll probably go and buy the bloody one that got rid of years ago. But yeah, it's retro. This last Christmas, what was in every bloody superstore, I don't know about any other country, but in the UK, every superstore had one of those. What's that? Lots of you'll know because lots will have bought one. It's a record player, come Bluetooth, come plug what the hell you like into it. If you got a lead, you can plug whatever into it. But primarily it's a record player. And what did they do? Every superstore sold them, and every superstore had at least maybe 8 different albums that you could buy to go with it. So yeah, all this stuff that everybody got rid of is now all back, and what we're doing, we're freaking buying it. We're buying it again. So I've got a great big wad of 80s, and these are, if you look at the colour of them and that, these are genuine 80s albums. And to be honest, if you're goth, you should at least have one. So yeah, that's all the thing. So yeah, so if you look at the pile, it's stockpiling up 80s goth. There's 80s goth there, there's 80s punk, there's 80s other little bits that are sort of blending in. And the more I get, I shall bring in 1 or 2 of the other bands to sort of make it a bit. So yeah, we're back to that. Looking down here, like I said, I'm not going to apologise for not being totally that. I think there's a lot of bloody music out there that's bloody beautiful music. And so I'll just have a quick look through this, because this isn't really goth at all. And I'm just bloody throwing it all over the place. This just happens to be a pile that I had up there. But we could have a look at them. This is Black Heroin Gallery. Goth band. Ta-da. So yeah, it's a bit of goth there. Like I said, Enigma, their newest album, or is. Surprise, surprise, Sarah Brightman. I think she's falls in with flipping goth pretty well. 5 albums of The Cure. 5 good bloody albums in there actually. there's that one most people have probably seen. It's Goth 18 classics. Well, let's give or take. Alicia's Attic, flipping like them. Another compilation of Goth. And here, all these here, if I do them like a pack of cards, is Rebecca Newman, who's a friend, and she's also a soprano, and she's a bloody fantastic singer, sung with some really good tenors. Really coming on, making a bloody good career for herself, and she's a flipping excellent singer. Would I throw those over my shoulder to get rid of them? With a buggery. Those last two. But I picked this pile up just to show you that a pile of records are not all going to be anywhere like you think, there's got a bit of Sisters of Mercy in there, there's going to be The Damned, there's going to be The Cure and Susie and everything. No, there's there, they're over there, they're on here. So there's a mix. So yeah, I could sit here for half an hour and go through all the goth stuff and the goth bands and this is fantastic. But if I'm talking about me as the music part of me, it does fall into all sorts. What do I listen to a hell of a lot? I'd say 80s goth, plus there's quite a bit of 90s, there's quite a bit of the 2000s as well. What happens normally? I'll generally use this because I can't be asked doing the other stuff. I'll put different bands on. Some are very gruff, some are very near metal, some are very 80s, whatever. But whatever I listen to, there comes a time somewhere after half hour or so when I can think to myself, had enough, just freaking had enough, and I go back to it and I change it. And who do I change it to? The Cure. I've tried to figure out why I go and turn it back to the Cure, not to Susie, not to The Damned, not to Bauhaus or Sisters of Mercy or anybody else of that period. I always go back to the Cure. Why? The only thing I can come up with is that it just seems to be just the most perfect of them all. Doesn't ask anything of you, doesn't give too much, it just seems to be right. You can listen to it, you don't get to a point where you say, oh bloody hell, I'm sick of bloody hearing it, I don't want to hear anymore. So I'd say folks, if I had to pick a band out of anything that I would put on and listen to and then maybe go to something else and then come back to, yeah, it's got to be these laddies. Just seems the way it is. Maybe if you're pretty much the same as that, you'll be able to give me an idea what makes you go to it. But I don't know, just something about the Cure that is good, sounds good, resonates good, and doesn't have anything about it that makes you just don't bloody hear anymore. So yeah, I can go into all the modern ones. I can go into some of the fantastic 80s ones, but at the end of the day, it's the Cure that my music goes around. So theoretically, if the government summit come along and says, very sorry, you can only ever have one band or one singer, the rest is going to have to go, unless you pay an hefty fine of billions of dollars. Out of this type of music, it would be the Cure that would stop. So that's it really. But I do love all the other stuff, and like I said, I don't know where bloody put it now. Oh, put it where it normally is. Yeah, I do love everything that's on there. In fact, I love all my collections, but yeah, the Cure sort of does it for me. Even some of the bands over the years that I really, really flipping loved, if I put them on, eventually I'd say, enough, the Cure, thank you very much. I don't know why. Talking about that, where it should go, I got this little thing from a shop. You might know, you sort of onto your car dashboard or whatever it is, I don't know, I'm not into that. But then you put your phone on there and you push it together, whatever phone it is. Well, I stuck that onto an heart-shaped coaster, because if you try and use a sucker, you know yourself, suckers don't bloody work for about 5 seconds and then so on there it balances it. And so if you want to put your MP3 player or whatever on the side, it's a good way of doing it. And somebody's bloody tinging me as usual. But yeah folks, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. That's music for me. I have loads of albums. Do I know what's on every one? Can I quote what's on every one? No, I don't bloody intend to do so neither. I must have 500 there, must have 1,000 albums or something. I don't even bloody contemplate figuring out what's on what and being able to roll them off. I know what albums sounds like, and so I know if I'm feeling in a certain mood, back to this one again, that'll go on. If I'm feeling in a different mood, that one will go on. I don't have to know what's on it. I don't give a toss. I know who it is. I know what it sounds like. I know what it does. That's all that matters. So if you want to, you can know every track. You can know every little bit of history of every track. It's fine. I've got other things to do rather than remember all that. So yeah, it doesn't go into much detail all that lot, does it? But yeah, I've got flipping tons of 80s stuff, but really at the end of the day it boils down to about 5 bands out of the whole lot, and then out of the 5 you're talking about the Cure really, which does it for me. You're going to be different, that's good. So have fun. Listen to your music. Listen to what?